Hi everyone, welcome to my review for Wuthering Waves 2.2 main story quest. I'm going to break this review down to a couple of categories. The categories are broken down by plot, story pacing, character, cinematography, sound design, and my overall enjoyment. I'm going to leave timestamps if you want to skip around the video. I'm going to rate them based on gacha game standards. There are going to be spoilers, so if you want to avoid that, click out of this video now. The 2.2 main story plot is pretty good and enjoyable. The story unfolds well and never deviates. It had one plot line and it stuck to it. There wasn't any weird or useless side quests. The story was basic and somewhat predictable. It leans heavily towards the damsel in distress trope, like you find Cartethyia, help her remember who she is and what happened with the Sentinel, then save her and live happily ever after. This isn't bad or anything. I think Curl knows what type of story their target audience likes, and they capitalize on it well. It's not escaping the Gathering Wives allegation, and I'm okay with that. I think there are some plot holes, mainly with Cantarella, like why did she need to take back Turvine the sword? What did she do when she split up with Rover and Cartethyia? What kind of preparation she needed to do to help in the final battle? How did Foam the Gondola know where she was? Just small things like this, but overall doesn't take too much away from the story. The pacing of the story was overall fine for the most part. It took me about 3 hours to finish. The pacing in the beginning, climax, and near the end of the story was great. It got a little rocky during the journey of collecting the swords, specifically when the game forced you into multiple combat using solo Rover. The position of the enemies for some reason were spaced far apart from each other. Some of the enemies are somewhat beefy and take multiple rotations to kill. It made the combat felt very dragged out. In my opinion, solo character gameplay in WoWa feels very boring to play. It's like you use your skill, Echo, Liberation, maybe Forte, and then spend all your time doing your basic attack till you're off cooldown. It's not fun to me at all. I think they made us use solo Rover for immersion's sake, but this was kind of a miss for me. If we were able to use our own team and plow through the combat, I think the overall pacing would have been near perfect. I think in the future, if they want to restrict us to using Rover only for immersion purposes, we should be able to swap Rover's elemental type, like in the final battle against Fluterless. I think that's my only issue about the pacing in the story, but overall, pacing was fine. Let's go over the characters in the story minus Rover. The main story heavily focuses on Cartethyia. It does introduce you to new characters like Cinematography and Cantarella. Cinematography barely gets any screen time at all, and all we know is she's a traveling bard and her forte can recreate your memories to see if you missed any details. Cantarella doesn't get a lot of screen time, but she does play a huge role in the story. She's the head of the Thessalia and spend most of her time searching for a solution to the Sentinel's problem. After finding Cartethyia, Cantarella kind of does her own thing and will appear from time to time and near the climax of the story. Near the end of the story, we learned that Cantarella was supposed to be the Maiden and Imperator's Resonator, but she sacrificed the power she received from her second awakening to help Imperator regain control. Personally, I didn't really like how they portrayed Cantarella in the story. Her character development feels all over the place. Maybe doing the companion quest would change my mind. Now, Cartethyia is obviously the main heroine of this update, and Curl did a decent job at her character development. Cartethyia started off unsure, confused of who she was, or if she's Leviathan's or Imperator's Resonator. She was trapped in the tower and was so weak she couldn't do anything without the help of Rover. We learned that she's kind of cute and kind of have a scaredy cat personality, but tries to put a calm and brave front. As the story progresses, as she reclaims her memory, she starts to have a sense of self again. She remembers who she was, what happened, and was able to comfort her other self and get closure. In the end, she strives to get stronger and one day wants to be able to help Rover in their time of need. In my opinion, one of the better fleshed out characters in Wuthering Waves. much better than when they introduced Shorekeeper. I like Shorekeeper, but when they introduced her, it felt really out of nowhere and felt really rushed. As far as Gotcha games goes, Kuro does a decent job at their characters. I notice a small fixation Kuro has with naming their characters starting with the letter C's. Currently, we have 6 playable characters that's name starts with the letter C's, and we'll have 8 for whenever Cartethyia and Cinematography are added. It's not a complaint, but it's just something really funny I've noticed. The story presentation, visual, and cutscenes are absolutely stunning. A memorable cutscene in 2.2 is the boat scene with Rover and Cartethyia. Her subtle gesture of grabbing hold onto the gondola is a nice way of hinting that she's nervous or scared. The scene depicts Cartethyia being scared of the waterfall drop, but trying to remain composed. Wuthering Waves keeps upping their story presentation and cutscenes. The new area is very well designed. There are multiple times where I stop mid-exploration to appreciate how pretty the new area looks. They incorporate a variety of visual styles that keeps it fresh and doesn't feel random. To give an example, whenever you insert one of the swords in the pedestal and you receive a flashback of Fruitilus's memory, you get this nice looking 2D moving presentation. And also the whole fight scene before, during, and after against Fruitilus was cinema and very well animated. Probably one of my favorite scenes so far. Overall, great job to Kuro Games. I find myself captivated and never once feel like pressing the skip and summarize button. The sound, music, and voice acting in the story exceeds my expectations. I use the Japanese voiceovers, so my experience might differ from yours. Ever since 1.1, Kuro has been consistently improving their sound designs. The Japanese voice acting, in my opinion, is always on point. I feel like every voice actor was able to convey the right emotion. I think every dialogue in the story was voiced, so A+ for that. My rule is, it's pretty simple. If it's not voice, I'm gonna skip the dialogue. I'm not a person who pays too much attention to background music or sound, but when the BGM can influence and enhance how I feel, then I think the sound department did a great job. This sound design definitely elevated the story and my enjoyment of the story. Overall, as a whole, I enjoyed the 2.2 main story quest. Since 2.2 story is heavily focused on Cartethyia, I wish they released her banner in 2.2 instead of Cantarella. I think that makes more sense, especially if they're laser focusing hard on a character. Cantarella could have been released in the second half of 2.2 along with her companion quests. I'm kind of worried what they're going to do main story quest wise for version 2.3 and up, because 2.2 feels like it kind of wraps up everything with the Sentinel being gone and whatnot. It feels like 2.3 and up might just be more epilogue and returning back to the Black Shores, or maybe to a new story area or just a new area in general. Hopefully I'm wrong and Kuro cooks up some good shit. I'm gonna rate each category from 1 to 10. The story, I'll give it an 8. The story pacing, I'll also give it an 8. Characters, I'll give it a 9. Cinematography and sound design, I'll give it 10 each. And when we add them all up together and average it, it'll be overall 9, which is a score I heavily agree with. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If you like my content, please leave a like and subscribe. Other than that, have a great day.